Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Dawn. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, hey, hey. It's Mystical Monday. Hey, hey, hey. It's Dr. Dawn. Welcome to another Mystical Monday. For those of you who are new to this channel and are joining me for the first time, my name is Dr. Dawn, and I am an intuitive guide and spiritual messenger. What that means is I am the go-between between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. I am in the middle, relaying and delivering messages to the collective from spirit. Spirit consists of who? G to the O to the D, God, divine beings of light. That could be spirit guides, multidimensional beings, and angelic realm, the angels in the angelic realm. And so I am here to relay and convey information to the collective. Okay, so for tonight's Mystical Monday, this is going to be a little different in that we're not going to start out with a meditation like we always do. Usually we start out with a meditation to get ourselves in alignment, at peace, and open to receiving all of the information that is going to be downloaded to us from the divine. However, tonight, I want to do it a little different because instead of doing meditation, I want you guys to practice mindfulness. All right. So often we feel like, we have to run to meditate, to get ourselves like grounded or in a place of awareness and connection. And that is true. That is true. But we also have to be in a place of mindfulness, or else sometimes those meditations can kind of go not the way we would want them to, because of all of the subconscious or unconscious feelings and things that are coming up that are causing things to kind of be shook up, so to speak. So unless we're mindful kind of the state that we're in at all times, meditation can sometimes be counterproductive. So tonight, let's do some mindfulness exercises. The first thing I want you guys to do is I want you to first feel where you are in space right now. Meaning, are you sitting in a chair? Are you laying down? Are your feet touching the floor? Are your arms hanging? Like, where are you in space as it relates right now? Get in touch with your actual physical body. Right now, I'm sitting in a chair. My feet are not touching the floor. They're actually touching the chair, so to speak, because it's a high chair. And so I am aware of the energy that is coming from my feet up to where I am now, because my feet are not able to touch the ground. So I am constantly in connection with where my feet are in space right now. My hands right now, my tips of my fingers are a little cold because it's a little cooler in my house. So I'm aware that my fingertips are somewhat not stiffened, but they're cool in the tips, all right? My back and my shoulders are somewhat stiff, just because I feel like I am having some ascension symptoms that are causing me a lot of stiffness in my back. So I'm always mindful when I'm sitting of how I'm positioned to kind of alleviate that stiffness and to keep me in a posture that is conducive to what I'm trying to do. Do you see what I'm saying now with this mindfulness of your body? I want you to be mindful of where and how your body is operating right now. Okay. Next thing I want you to do, I want you to be mindful of what you're feeling right now. How are you feeling? I am actually feeling well rested. I had a long weekend because I did a live event out of town. And I returned home yesterday and I slept and I slept and I got a lot of energy in me for today. How are you feeling? Are you feeling rested? Are you feeling tense? Are you feeling like you're in knots? Are you feeling like you're floating? Are you feeling as if you're kind of disconnected? You don't know if you're here or there. You're kind of a little bit out of it. Like, how are you feeling at this moment? Be mindful, identify the feeling that you're having. Okay. All right. Next, What is your environment like? What does it smell like? Is there a certain scent? Is there an odor? Is there something penetrating in the air that is giving you a sense of a feeling or a memory? Or is it just like me? I feel cold air a little bit coming through. So that cold air is kind of hitting me, causing me to kind of have a little bit of a shiver. Okay. What is your environment like? What are you smelling? What are you feeling? Be in tune and mindful of your environment. All right. This is all mindfulness. Now, you all may say, well, why are we doing this? Because I do this every day, but you really don't. You actually go through your day and through life, kind of just going through it without paying attention to all of these things that are happening around you and within you, which is key during this spiritual kind of evolutionary process. The mindfulness part. The mindfulness part is where we get kind of sidetracked, lost, or kind of out of touch or not in tune to, because we take it for granted that everything that's happening in our day-to-day life, it's routine, it's kind of us going through the motions, but you're not understanding what comes with going with those motions. And so now you got to be mindful of all of this stuff, because as you're sorting through and clearing through like the old debris of your energy fields that you've been carrying, a lot of this is going to require you to stay in a mindful state of being. And if you don't stay in it, it's going to require you to get to it, get back to it when you realize that things are off. Okay. So with all those categories I just gave you a few minutes ago, do your little checklist, see where you fit in terms of your mindfulness and where you're functioning at this point. And then I want you to ask yourself, am I content with where I am in this moment, this present moment, right now, watching this video? Am I content with how I feel, what I'm sensing, what I am experiencing? How do I feel in this moment? Mindfulness. Okay. Now, when you do the meditations, sometimes it will cause you to, as we put it, you'll kind of relax, you'll slide into like a peaceful state, a calming state of being. You kind of lose yourself, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, because we need that to get us to be in a state of, peace and calm. We need that. But we also need to be aware of where we are at all times, not just in that meditative moment. All moments are important and critical as you do your ascension and your spiritual awakening and movement forward on your journey. Okay. So take a moment, ask yourself right now, how am I feeling in this moment? Where am I mentally in this moment? And what is it that I hope to accomplish within myself at this moment? Did you get the answers that you were seeking? Okay, so now that you are mindfully aware of where you are now and what you hope to accomplish in this moment, let's see if we can move you into that energy in that field of receiving it. Okay, we've set that intention. Now let's move into the process of receiving it through mindfulness. Okay, we're going to talk tonight about a topic that came up during my live event. Well, not during, but after, when I talked to some of the people who were in the audience, as well as on my TikTok, a video that I posted last week on TikTok, talking about ascension symptoms. Lots and lots of comments, more than I was able to even answer. Can you believe that? Lots and lots of feedback. And so it led me to the downloads that I was getting in terms of getting everybody to kind of understand when you're having a spiritual emergency versus part of just your spiritual awakening process, because everybody, a couple of people use the term spiritual emergency. And I said, oh, I've never covered spiritual emergencies on any of my channels, YouTube, Facebook, never did that topic per se. So I said, let's kind of talk about spiritual emergencies because some of you are having them right now and experiencing them right now. And so let's give you some tips, tools, strategies, and some awareness so that you can move through it, okay? Flow through it with grace and ease. Well, not with ease. It may not be ease. That's why it's an emergency, right? But give you a little sense of confirmation that what you're experiencing may be part of the ascension. Okay. So I want you guys to first understand that the reason that these spiritual emergencies are happening is because your conditioning that you've had was strong. You had strong beliefs, you had strong habits, you had strong ideas, you had strong patterns. Okay. Remember, these things didn't come overnight. These are things that were given to you and handed down generationally. A lot of you experienced and learned all of these things through your parents and through society. All right. I keep saying you guys, but me too. Me too. We've learned these things through our parents and through society, and they're so deep sometimes. They're so deep because they formulate who and what we are today. I mean, everything that we do, the essence of who we are comes from this conditioning. So you got to understand when your body starts to undergo this awakening process and all of these strong things that you've held dear, like I said, your beliefs, your habits, your ideas that you have, the patterns in your life, everything that you've held on to so dearly throughout your life is now starting to open and move away and break apart. And that can be catastrophic for us as it relates to not so much our spiritual body, but our physical body, okay? And so right now, these things are happening, and I want you guys to understand it's okay. It really is okay that they're happening. Okay. And as I mentioned last week, we talked about how your immune system is going to be affected, but your nervous system. We talked about your immune system and your nervous system. Remember the brain and spinal cord, your nervous system. But I want to get more into those systems because when those systems go amok, especially that nervous system, it will cause you to feel as if you are having a physical breakdown. Okay. Not just in your reality, but in your physicality. And so it becomes crucial that you understand spiritual emergencies versus mental illness. Okay. Because right now in society, in public, social media, we got so many things going on. And if you're sitting from your mindful place of being, from your state of awareness, you can see kind of where people are in their processes based on things that they're saying and their actions, but you got to look beyond the veil. Don't look at it with face value from your human perspective. Put on your spiritual glasses, and then you can kind of dissect what people are going through or where they are in their awakening process. Okay, so when we're having our spiritual emergencies versus our mental illness things, we may experience mystical psychosis. I had a lot of those. Mystical psychosis consists of like hallucinations or seeing and feeling presences of beings and things that are all around you. Now, with the normal eye, this could be construed as like mental breaks, where people are like, okay, you need medication, you need to be hospitalized, something's not right. You shouldn't be seeing things that aren't there. Okay. That's our conditioning. Now, I'm not saying that there are some people that is not the mental health thing happening, but when you're going through a spiritual emergency, these hallucinations and things that you're seeing, a lot of people are seeing orbs now. I get a lot of reports of people seeing orbs, like I see them and I can hear them. It's like they're talking, like, I know I'm not crazy, but it's these circles, and then I can hear them auditorily. And, people are, having these phenomena happen. And so usually when you have these type of hallucinations and these like kind of mystical psychosis experiences, as I call them, they usually lead upward to the higher realms of consciousness. They usually lead to you becoming more in tune and more aware of things beyond just that, things that are more connecting you to your higher place of being, to your spiritual essence of love, light, and strength, and your increased connection to the source, which is God. That's how these kind of mystical psychoses will show themselves to you. And you can kind of differentiate between the spiritual emergency versus the mental illness kind of thing, because it leads up to God, and the feeling and the energy associated with it leads to higher consciousness. Okay. Now, we got the flip side of that, right? We have the dark night of the soul, right? We are all familiar with that term, right? The dark night of the soul often is seen in forms like depression, right? And sadness. And it feels heavier, and it doesn't feel as exciting as seeing an orb, or hearing a voice, or feeling this like divine connection. It feels like it's just you're going through hell literally, and you feel as if there's this dark entity holding you, pushing you down, right? Making you feel as if you are having a psychotic break that's causing you to feel like more sad. Is sadder a word? To feel increased sadness, or out of your place of comfort and happiness. Okay. When we have our dark night of the soul, the energy feels downward, and as I just said, but usually when it's related to the dark night of the soul, it's going to lead to inner work. It's going to lead you to looking within. It's going to lead you to going to those places where you don't want to go, so that you can discover a realm of your soul that you did not know existed. So when you go through that dark night of the soul, which would be part of your spiritual emergency, you're pulling back layers, you're doing some discovery things, you're looking down deep in the depths of your subconscious, and you're going within yourself to see like where this stemmed from or originated from. Okay. When you feel as if it's more of a mental health issue, okay, related to the depression, more often than not, the exploration may not be within. Okay. It may be sometimes outward. Okay. You may find yourself kind of physically abusing yourself, or gosh, you guys, what do you call that? The people who prick themselves, or try, you know what I'm saying? It may be more of an outward abusive thing, or it may be more, not all the time, just an example of what how it may show itself when it's mental health related. But it doesn't really lead to you being aware or thinking or wanting to go within you. You're looking outside into other avenues and reasons. Okay. And so this kind of spiritual emergency and mental illness thing are so closely tied in, that if you're not working with someone who is experienced in kind of like these spiritual processes, or like spiritual counseling, or things like this, it could sometimes be misconstrued. Now, I'm not saying that medication doesn't help in any of these circumstances. Maybe light medication is needed to get you to a place of calm and feeling as if you can function. Okay, no harm, no foul. But the important thing that I want you guys to realize, because so many people who are experiencing these things without the resources or awareness of what could be happening, will sometimes convince themselves that they are in such a bad place, and they're such a bad person, and they deserve these things, or these things are happening because they did something to cause them. And I want to do this to clear that up, that is not the case. It is not the case. These things almost are triggered within us during the awakening process, because it has to have this type of physical effect on us. Because remember, these physical avatars, uniforms, come with all of this previous and past conditioning. That's what I talked to you about like a couple of minutes ago, that have made this process, okay, feel and seem as if it's unbearable, because it's lifetimes of holding on to. So you have to know that to release the stronghold of all of these things is going to cause a side effect. It just is. So just understand that part of this spiritual emergency is part of your awakening. Now, does everybody have spiritual emergencies? Well, we all go through the dark night of the soul, which is exploration within as to feelings and things that have caused us to kind of be at a certain place in our soul's journey. We all go through this, but we all don't experience it the same way. So this is for people who feel as if they are having spiritual emergencies. I want you guys to understand that, because if you have not experienced what is considered a spiritual emergency, okay, it's fine. Doesn't mean you will. Because some people will think, oh my God, it's coming. I'm going to have to, go through. You don't have to have the emergency. You don't. Okay. Some people have it in a lighter form, so to speak, and it's bearable and manageable. Some of these are drastic, I'm giving you, because some people have drastic instances that occur, because that's kind of what is going to manifest as a result of the conditioned beliefs that they've held dear. Okay, so let's go through some of these spiritual emergency symptoms. Okay, so some of these are going to seem like they overlap with regular ascension symptoms, but just know that whatever I tell you right now, it's going to be amped up a little bit if you're having an emergency, okay? First and foremost, you are going to feel like you're crazy. Don't we all feel like that when we're having a spiritual awakening? I know I did, honey, but I kept my crazy to myself. I didn't share it with anybody. I shared it with my husband at some point, not in the beginning. And I shared it with my cousins at some point as well, because Spirit led me to talk to my cousins and said they would understand, which they did. But for a long time, I kept it to myself, because how do you explain it? How do you know who to share it with? How do you know how to share it? So one of the things that you may experience in your spiritual emergency is a feeling of you being crazy, almost to the point to where you're mental. Okay. Well, I'm going to go through all this and then we'll get with how to cope with them next. Next, you're going to feel like you're experiencing synchronicities. Synchronicities can be good, especially when there are things we're wanting to manifest quickly. Like if I say, oh, I wonder what my cousin Kim is doing, and she calls me. Oh, we like those kind of synchronicities, right? Boom. But what if I say, oh, I hope I don't get a flat tire because I'm running late, and then I'm going to be late for my presentation. And then I go downstairs and my tire is flat. We don't like those kind of synchronicities, right? So synchronicities are when your thoughts become reality and they're moving at warp speed and they're quick. And you say, but that's not a spiritual emergency. It can be a spiritual emergency if it gets overwhelming to the point where things are manifesting and being created quicker and faster than you're wanting them to, or in a place of manifesting that is not comparable to what you're trying to do, like with the example I gave you with the flat tire. Okay. So sometimes that can cause you to have, lead to emergencies, because you'll think, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm creating, these things, and then you get nervous and you get scared, and then anxiety sets in, and then that can lead to a whole, kind of things. Okay. A whole lot of different things. So that can lead to a spiritual emergency. Okay. Feeling as if you are being sucked into a different dimension. This can lead to a spiritual emergency. Okay. What does that mean, Dawn? A lot of times when we're going through our awakening, we astral travel. We literally, in our sleep, when we close our eyes, when we're in our REM state, we're aware that our spirit bodies are moving and we're experiencing things and we're going places. Sounds like fun. Most people want to do it. But when you're doing these things, and this is in the sleep state, let me change that to the awakening state, because a lot of us through our awakening, you feel it whether you sleep or awake, like I do. I feel like, okay, where was I just at? I wasn't here. Like, that happens quite often during your spiritual awakening. You're moving between dimensions in your sleep state and your awake state. For some people, it's a spiritual emergency because they're not ready for that. They don't want to do that yet. They want to stay grounded, focused, and in the present moment. And so it'll take its toll on you because you'll say, I don't know how to control this. And it can lead to feelings of paranoia or feelings of anxiety. Okay. And so just understand that when you're doing this shifting or feeling as if you're shifting between dimensions, remember, again, it's got back to the beginning. You're releasing all of these conditioned energies that are surrounding or within your physical body. And as this is happening, you're becoming more awakened and in touch with the essence of who you are, the spiritual being with you that is connected to the spiritual reality. So you're going to do some shifting. Sometimes intentionally when you want to, and sometimes not intentionally, but some people don't like that lack of control, being able to control when it happens. So when it happens, sometimes it happens to the point where it can cause you to have a meltdown. Okay. Sometimes, but for the most time, most people like it. So, but it can lead to spiritual emergencies for some. Okay. All right. You have a medical illness that like comes out of the blue. It's unexplained. You're like, what the, what? I have a client doing great, wonderful. Out of the blue, she loses her voice. She's like, okay, what happened to my voice? Where'd it go? She undergoes all of this testing. They don't know what's wrong, can't find what's wrong. She's literally wondering like what is happening. And so unexplained illness, it'll happen because guess what? Look, I'm going to speculate, as I have with her in her sessions, that it was part of her awakening, part of not just her body adjusting to the ascension symptoms, but part of her purpose manifesting as a result of these symptoms occurring in the way that they did, where she had to lose her voice, go through testing, experience different types of healing techniques to assist with this. Once she found out there was no physical orientation, there was nothing medically to explain it. Just that her voice left, and they kept saying, well, maybe it was an infection, maybe it was this. They didn't know. And so whenever medicine doesn't know, you guys, that's your ding, 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 ding. That's your like hint that it's a spiritual manifestation that's happening for spiritual reasons. And so out of the blue, sometimes this can cause like spiritual emergencies because you panic. Who wouldn't panic? You lose your voice for no reason. Yes, you will panic. But the more aware that she became of the fact that it wasn't a physical origin, she started to now pursue the spiritual kind of avenues to assist with her voice and is regaining it, so to speak. And so part of your emergency, maybe you may experience an unexplained medical illness. Don't panic, don't freak out. Usually these things will pass on through. They will be temporary. They are designed to trigger you, awaken you, get you to move in a direction sometimes of where you're headed in terms of your life purpose. And for some, it's just an ascension symptom. It is a result. Remember, we said as our light bodies are increasing in frequency, it's going to disrupt our central nervous system, our brain and spinal cord, and our immune system. It's got to do it because these systems are what connects you, our physical bodies, to our spirit bodies. So there's going to be some disruption in these systems as you are ascending or increasing in frequency. Do we need to review ascending one more time what that is? Ascension is when you are developing your light body. You are increasing in frequency to where your body is now getting downloaded more light. And as a result of more light being placed into your body, it has to cause some physical disruptions in this physical body. Your spirit body can handle it all day long. You can just bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. But because we are in these physical bodies, we have to go through the ascension process, which is a little light at a time, little by little by little. Now, if we didn't have these and we were all spirit bodies, you can bring it on, download all the light, give it to us all day long. We could take it. But because we got these physical bodies, we cannot take all of the light that is needed at this time for us to upgrade without us no longer existing. So we have to get these downloads of light energy in slow amounts and increments to move us forward. Okay. So as we're getting this light, remember, I'm just pulling it all together for you guys. We're going to have disruptions in our nervous system and our immune system. So look for things to happen. People on my TikTok were like, what about my sinuses? What about like flu-like symptoms? What about your nervous system as well as your immune system? Okay. So next, when you are having a spiritual emergency, you will have a roller coaster of emotions. Ooh, child, you're gonna have a roller coaster of emotions. You'll be mad one minute, you'll be sad another minute. You'll be happy one minute, you'll be depressed another minute. You'll be whoop, whoop, boop, 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 boop. Because remember, your central nervous system, okay, your brain, your spinal cord, all of this system, this is where your emotions come into play. This is powerful for the emotions in that part of that system in your body. So when you're having the upgrades, you're gonna be all over the place with your emotions. And like a lot of women, middle-aged women, as I told you guys before, will confuse it for what? Menopause. We'll confuse it for menopause. Could be in some instances, but who's to say that menopause, the origin of menopause, you guys, may be a time in our lives where we experience the upgrade, like during that time of our life for women. And it was always maybe the trigger for us to have our increase in downloads in a way. I mean, who's to say? It could have been all along. But for now, in this moment, we know that a lot of people are experiencing changes in emotions and moods because that central nervous system is being affected from these downloads. So sometimes it becomes a spiritual emergency when you cannot handle the changes in emotions. They are so prevalent in your life and affect so many facets of your life that you feel the need to shut down, literally shut down to where you have a breakdown. Okay. And so remember, when we're looking at the difference between spiritual emergencies versus mental illness, remember when you're having these emotional changes and triggers and all of this, remember, when it's a spiritual emergency, it's usually going to take you to a place of realization, going within higher consciousness, moving upward towards God and feeling of connection to the source, more so than getting more sad, getting suicidal, getting more likely to feel as if you can't take it, you don't want to be here, you may self-mutilate, you may what. It doesn't go that way. That will make you be more, that will seem or be indicative of more mental health, okay? So with all of these examples, you guys, I'm trying to keep you in a balance so you understand the symptoms are pretty similar, but how you respond energetically to them is what will take you to the place of mental health versus spiritual emergency. Okay. All right, let me keep going. Okay, next you will be having difficulty with coping with everyday tasks. So, yeah, you guys. So you may be like maybe some of you go to work, you drop off the kids, you fix dinner, you do it like, your tasks, but now you're to the point where you just can't do it. You don't understand why you have to do things in this order every day. You're starting to question, like, why is it that I always do this, and this? I never have nothing or any time for anything in the middle. Like, it's just the everyday tasks start to become difficult for you because you're starting to realize the foundational setup of the matrix grid. Okay, remember, we're on planet Earth. The matrix is a grid that covers the planet, electromagnetic grid with all these different codes and frequencies. And you're noticing, or you're starting to realize that this routine that you're doing, these tasks, everyday tasks, are becoming mundane. They're becoming meaningless. They're becoming effortful. They're becoming more than you care to bear. So it starts to become difficult for you to go through these things, which is what happened to me, which is why I'm sitting in front of this screen with you guys now, because I couldn't do my mundane routine anymore. I had broken away and out of it. Because we were never meant to come here to be robots, meaning do the same routine every single day, all day. And you're gonna start stepping into that feeling when you have your awakening, and then when you have a spiritual emergency, sometimes you just can't do it anymore. Now, mine wasn't an emergency, so to speak, but an awareness to start shifting. And so I started shifting slowly into a new way of being that disrupted the task that I did every day. Some of you may not do that slow progression forward, not forward, I shouldn't use forward, slow progression out of um, the mundaneness that you're feeling. Some of you may stay and keep doing it until it becomes an emergency. It becomes overwhelming and too much, and you can't do it no more. And then again, you feel as if you're having a breakdown. How do we know the difference, you guys, between a mental illness breakdown and a spiritual emergency breakdown? Your spiritual emergency breakdown will lead you to a break up, meaning not a break up. That's bad. That's negative too. It leads you to movement up. So from your breakdown will come a realization of how to move up into a better place of feeling and being. If you are having that breakdown as a result of not being able to deal with the mundane tasks and things that are causing you to go in a downward spiral to where you can't get up, then we're looking at more mental health. Okay. All right. Now, remember, I'm giving you guys these tips from a spiritual perspective, from my perspective. Am I the end all? Absolutely not. You take this information, and if it resonates with you, use it. If it doesn't, throw away what doesn't resonate with you. But keep in mind all of the variations that can be experienced and how, and see how they fit you accordingly. Okay. Because remember, you're the only expert in you. Nobody else is the expert in you, your journey, your ascension, your awareness, any of that, because you're the only one experiencing it. We're all having different experiences that are affecting us in different ways. So we are doing what as a collective right now? Sharing our experiences. That's what we're doing. Sharing our experiences so we can piece together and move in a direction, okay, that is beneficial to us as well as the upliftment and ascension of the planet. Okay. All right. Let me get the water. Sorry. Hold on, you guys. All right. Struggling to sleep. Now, this can be a spiritual emergency because sometimes that lack of sleep will throw you off all the way around. You know, we need a certain amount of sleep to function, right? If you can't get to sleep, or if your sleep is being disrupted because of all of this spiritual phenomena, it can cause you to have an emergency. Recognize difficulty sleeping usually does not occur by itself when you're undergoing a spiritual awakening. You're usually experiencing other symptoms in addition to it. It's usually not just, oh, I can't sleep. It's usually, oh, I can't sleep. My ears are ringing. I'm getting headaches. I'm getting dizzy. I'm getting, like, you usually have a multitude of symptoms beyond just not being able to sleep when you're going through a spiritual awakening. If your symptoms seem to be solely related to, I can't sleep, because I am like energetic, or I just can't get my eyes, to stay shut, or oh, I think about like these bad thoughts, I can't stay asleep. Like, look at the source of your inability to sleep, okay? So that you can determine if it is a spiritual emergency or more of a mental health issue. But as I said before, if it's a spiritual emergency symptom, it usually is accompanied by a multitude of other things that are associated with the spiritual awakening process and ascension symptoms. So just be mindful of that. That's one of the things you'll see. In addition to, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, I'm going to say some of the obvious ones: ringing in the ear, sometimes blurred vision, or seeing images floating in front of you. A lot of people now are experiencing sinus symptoms because, like I said, you guys, that immune system is being affected because the frequencies are higher. What's another one? Oh, the off balanceness. Being off balance is very common. Like, I'm sharing these with you guys because the symptoms seem to be changing. Initially, when I first started my journey, eons, like in 2008, the symptoms were one thing, but now they keep adding on. They keep becoming more and more cumbersome because the frequency keeps coming more and more like higher and intense. So we're experiencing different types of things now. So I'm trying to keep you guys updated on these symptoms so you can start making sense of all of the things that are happening, because they're changing. The symptoms are changing now. And we need to be aware of that, because a lot of us are like, oh, I know I had my awakening, my ascension, because I already had the earring and the this, the that. No, you're gonna keep ascending as long as you're here. The ascension process does not stop. You keep going. The symptoms keep changing. Okay. So we have to keep in our awareness the change in the symptoms. Okay. All right, you're going to feel like your world is crumbling, rightfully so, right? Everything is starting to change within you, which will cause you to have changes outside of you. So your world will seem as if it's crumbling because there's so much change around you. Sometimes this is a spiritual emergency for people because they don't like the change. They don't want the change. The change is uncomfortable, and change in general usually is like traumatizing to people because it takes them out of their comfort zone. Okay. So you may be experiencing that as a result of a spiritual emergency. Now, this is a big one. I had this in the beginning of my awakening. So you may believe that you are an incarnated, enlightened being like Jesus, Buddha, Mary. You may feel like you are them incarnate because, and I did, yeah, I thought I was Jesus coming back in the beginning of my awakening. I remember watching Jesus of Nazareth or something special. And I think, was he walking on water? Yeah, I think he's walking on water. And so I was like, I could do that. I felt like I could do it, y'all. I was like, I could do that. Like when you're in your awakening, you feel powerful. You feel like, yes, I am one with God. I am him. Jesus is his son. I'm his daughter. Like I can walk on water. You start to feel that sense of being during your awakening. And for some people, it may go to the extreme, because you got to realize it's the collapse of your ego. Okay. Not the collapse. I shouldn't say the collapse of it. But it causes your ego to get inflated during the awakening process. So you'll have these thoughts, but for some, it can become a spiritual emergency because they feel like I can do this stuff, but when they don't see the physical results of it, some people can be upset, or it could be traumatizing, or it could be hindering, or it could be just any type of way as it relates to their mental status and well-being. I'm smiling, you guys, because I think back to like the stuff that I thought and who I thought I was. I don't know. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. But a lot of times when you're going through this part of your process, you feel as if you are Buddha incarnated, Mary incarnated, like just an enlightened being back experiencing things, because you feel such a connection to this particular being because you feel a similarity. And that's what these enlightened beings are. They are beings who became aware and ascended to a level of awareness to where their connection with God was one of, a high frequency light. And so you feel connected, and sometimes you'll feel like you're incarnated to them. Now, I told you, when it's a spiritual emergency, when you feel like you have or can do or you are, and things aren't happening exactly the way they should, but becomes a mental illness, I think, when you, I'm not going to give you all an example of that, because I think you'll know when it is a mental illness for someone who thinks they're an incarnated being and they're not, and it causes them to act out in a way that is not just harmful to themselves, but maybe harmful to others. Okay. So I share that one because that one's pretty common now. I hear a lot of people say, this may sound weird, but a lot of people are feeling as if they are incarnated beings. And you guys are probably saying, well, who's to say they're not, Dawn? They might be. They might be, but if they are, it's a common phenomena that happens during your awakening process. Okay. Didn't know if you guys knew that. Okay, you start to have strange sensations in your body. You start to get like shivers and heat. You feel heat running through you and just surges of sensations in your body. Happened to me all the time, still happens. But for some people, it can be to the point where it causes an emergency because these feelings are uncomfortable. They may happen at times where they don't want them to happen, or they may happen and you feel as if it's related to or tied to something lower vibrational, and then you spaz out, freak out, and you let your mind take you to another place. It is not uncommon for you to experience these surges. Remember, you guys, remember our two systems that are affected: your central nervous system and your immune system. Both of those things, when you experience these things, remember in your mind, is this related to my central nervous system or is it related to my immune system? Oh, it's related to one of them, might be an ascension symptom. I'm feeling like shivers going up my spine. Why is that? When is this happening? Oh, it's happening when I am in the break room at work. Could it be that maybe I'm experiencing some sensitivity to that environment for some reason because I'm having my spiritual awakening and that could be causing it? Let me pay attention and see if or when that happens again, where I am and what I'm doing. You see, mindfulness and combination with your spiritual awareness during this time. Or it could be that it happens all the time, no matter where you are. So you go, oh, that is my central nervous system adjusting to the frequency, because I know that that includes my brain and my spinal cord, and the shiver goes down my spine. So must be some downloaded energy because physically everything is good. Okay, so you may experience these things. And like I said, it leads to spiritual emergencies when it happens often and a lot, and you don't know what it is, and you're not aware of when it's going to happen. It can cause you to go into an emergency. All right. Extreme, another symptom of possible cause of spiritual emergency: extreme exhaustion. Okay. A lot of people, I misdiagnosed myself a lot at the beginning of my journey because of the extreme exhaustion. I thought I had MS. I thought I had lupus. I had like all of these different ailments. I was going to the doctor. I thought I did. Going to the doctor, like, I need an MRI. I think I got MS. I'm going to tell y'all something. I had some very patient doctors. And I'm going to say this. I think it's because of that PhD in my name. I would go to the doctors and kind of tell them, these are the symptoms I'm having. This is what I'm suspecting. Could you run this test? I need an MRI. I need it with contrast because I need you to look for this. Like, I was telling them kind of what to do based on the symptoms I was having, and they were doing them. No questions asked, no whatever, because I was giving them everything they needed to support the testing. I'm not saying you guys can do that, but I think they didn't challenge me because of that PhD, y'all. But I'm telling you, so then you can go if you need to challenge your doctors if you have symptoms that you think mimic something, so you can rule out the physical underlying features that it could attribute to. So I had all these tests ran, you guys, because I was tired. It just wasn't feeling right. Nothing was wrong with me. They kept saying, nope, fine, nope, this, nope, that. So during my awakening, my spirit team started to reveal to me through online things like this right here, what you guys are looking at, ascension symptoms of exhaustion. So then it clicked. Okay. So that will happen too. If you're experiencing a symptom and you can't get the answer, you think it's medically related, hold tight, because your spirit team is going to get you the guidance that you need to help you to differentiate if it's physical, if it's spiritual, be it through an online means like this, or you may get an urge to go to the doctor, or maybe a strong urge, go, 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 and you can have it checked out. Or you may just want to go to the doctor from the beginning to rule it out, however you want to do it. But extreme exhaustion will show itself. And sometimes it can be a spiritual emergency because it can cause such a toll on your body to where you literally sometimes can't walk. I got people who gave me ascension symptoms over the weekend who were telling me I couldn't even get out the bed. Like, I literally sat on the edge of the bed, had to lay back down. You got to remember, you guys, these symptoms are affecting all of us differently because all of us are carrying different soul imprints. We've got different journeys, different incarnations, different energy blockages, different frequencies being downloaded and are affecting us differently. So we're all different in our effects, how it's affecting us. But this can cause what? A spiritual emergency if you're not aware, and you can start making up in your mind, like I did, all of the things that are contributing to this exhaustion, when in the end for me, it was none of that. It was part of my awakening. Okay, you guys see how this is going? You see where we are now in this transition. We got to stay up on these ascension symptoms. That's why I decided to do ascension part 2 this time, because ascension can be every week, really, if we let it, because it's happening every moment, every second, every day of our lives here. And so we could always do updates, but I think we've really got to touch on it now, because we're really experiencing some new things now that need further clarification and explanation. Okay. All right, let me look, where am I at for time, you guys? Okay. All right. So let's deal with these symptoms, because most of you, the go-to is meditation, right? Well, you see today, I didn't take you to meditation because it's not bad. Meditation is wonderful. It's good. It's what gets us centered. Those portals back there, very connected to meditation and your connection, your awareness, your opening, your peace, your alignment, all of that. Meditation is wonderful. But when you're experiencing these spiritual emergencies, I want you guys to temporarily step away from meditation. Okay. I want you to step away from the meditation and go to mindfulness. You say, wait a minute, Dawn, meditation takes me to a place where I can relax, where I can like get connected, where I can be, feel grounded. I can feel in touch. I need that. How many of you have gone to meditation when you're experiencing some of these symptoms that I just went through and categorized as emergencies, and you can't focus? You're like jittery. It served no purpose, really. It brought up more thoughts, more things that were like counterproductive to what you were trying to do, and you were all over the place. Well, that's what meditation is supposed to do. It's supposed to bring it up for you to, be aware of, for you to like transmute, push back out into the universe. It's supposed to do that. But if you're in a state of emergency, bringing up some of that stuff may cause you to have a counterclasmic like kind of explosion. Okay. So I'm suggesting you step away from that for a moment. And I want you to move more into the mindfulness. I want you to pay more attention to the present moment, like we did when we started. Get into that. Get into, how am I feeling? How is my body feeling in this current state of awareness? Where is it right now? What are my thoughts? How are my thoughts tied to what I'm feeling? Okay. And then I want you to go from there. And then I want you to seek out earth energy. I want you to get into the naturalness of your connection to your spirit body and your human body. Okay. I want you to get up. I want you to go outside. I keep telling you guys this all the time, not telling you, suggesting. I don't want to tell you anything. I keep suggesting to you that you go outside into nature. That is your organic connection to the universe. Okay. I mentioned going in the backyard or outside with your shoes off, just walk in the grass, walk. Get connected to that earth. Okay. Get connected to the root, your feet at the root, get to the root and the root of the earth. Make that connection. It sounds so simple and it sounds like it wouldn't be productive, but it will be if you just try it. Try that. Try what's called earthing. All right. I want you guys to eat grounding foods. Now, again, I told you guys, you don't have to be a non-meat eater, a vegetarian, but eat meats that are free range, no toxins or antibiotics or none of that, just free range. The ones that eat grass, where it's a little bit more cleaner, more vegetables, some sweet potatoes. Eat those like grounding kind of foods during this time. All right. I want you guys to pay it. Let's see. Whew, I got so much energy flowing through me. Find the purpose in your current suffering, if you want to categorize it. Find the purpose in why you're going through and feeling what you're feeling. You can do that via journaling or talking to yourself or however you want to do it. Find the purpose in what you're doing. You guys, this is all mindfulness. This is mindful stuff that I'm suggesting instead of moving to the meditation during this time. Okay. Try to find the reason in why you're going through what you're doing. And by all means, next, first and foremost, exercise at least a little bit, you guys, a little bit, because your physical exercise connects you with your being. It does. Remember, there's just a small little gap between your spirit self and your aura and your physical self. There are ways to keep these connections between all of these things. And one of them is exercise, because exercise makes you mindful of your body. How many times, I know I have done jumping jacks or something, and I'm like, oh my God, my knees, my back. You're very aware of what you're feeling during exercise. Or you're doing a sit up or a twist, and you're like, oh, I can feel it. Or in my mind, I'm moving the energy in my stomach, in my waist. I'm breaking it down. Like, exercise makes you become aware of your body. And that's what mindfulness is, becoming aware of your physical body in this physical reality, as it relates to the spiritual components that are happening and coming to you. And exercise is key for that. You guys don't have to do an hour. You don't have to do just move around 15 minutes, do something, run in place, jump into something to connect that and make you more aware of your body. Okay. Avoid stress during these spiritual emergencies. Step away from things that you know are stressful to you guys. It's okay to step away for some time. Be by yourself. Get into hermit mode. And while you're doing that, decrease your responsibilities. Stop doing all the stuff you used to do. We mentioned in the beginning about the routines, the everyday tasks that become mundane to you and become so overwhelming and difficult to do now. Look at those tasks and start delegating, change it up. Have somebody else do something that you were doing. Exchange something that you do for something somebody else does. Switch off your responsibilities, change or decreasing, eliminate them altogether if you can. Because a lot of you are carrying and holding on to so much that is causing these spiritual emergencies, because it is interfering with your spiritual awareness, because you are putting yourself in a position to be responsible for more things than you need to. Okay. All right. And then get in touch or connect with support. Seek support if you can from spiritual guides or counselors. I guess that would be me, right? Someone like me, or someone who is familiar with spiritual emergencies and spiritual processes. Okay. I'm not saying that psychologists or psychiatrists aren't familiar with that, because some of them are. But seek that out. Seek out the support that you need during this time, because you may need it. Everybody can't go through it alone, and that's okay, because we're all wired differently. We're all wired differently. Okay, so I hope that this has helped you guys in terms of spiritual emergencies versus kind of mental illness type things, because I wanted to really stress that. And I wanted to also stress to you guys that the ascension symptoms now are becoming more heavier, becoming more kind of effective to our physical bodies, because we're now having to respond a little differently, because the frequencies of these energies that's coming in is coming faster. The rate of receiving them is faster. And so we're moving in a different rate of being, and we're responding differently. Okay. So I want you guys to understand ascension is ongoing. It never stops. As long as you're here, you'll keep ascending, but it's how you handle these symptoms and ascension, because your awareness and flow of it is going to keep enhancing as you keep going, because you're going to keep becoming aware of the symptoms, and then you're going to keep getting more and more in tune with how to respond to them. And so it's not going to be as difficult as it was in the beginning of your process, but you got to stay in a place of mindfulness. Mindfulness, mindfulness, mindfulness. All right. So I hope this has helped. I want you guys to know I am available for one-on-one coaching sessions. Please visit my website at www.discoveringyourinnerlight.com. I would love to hear from you, see you guys. Please, you guys, visit me over on TikTok. I'm having fun over there. I'm having fun here, but this is like a structured formal class, and I love it. And then TikTok is more like kind of let your hair down and kind of just like go with the flow. It's a little different format over there. Over here, I give you guys kind of collective information and downloads, but over there, I kind of roll with the flow. I let them kind of tell me, okay, where are we today? What are we talking about? And it's kind of guided by the audience. And so very excited about that. Also follow me on Instagram, you guys, because I will be going back to doing live spiritual readings. And so you need to be following me at Discovering Your Inner Light so that you stay up to date and aware of when that may happen. Follow me on all these platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, because the content is different, as I just mentioned to you guys. And so I would love, love, love to connect with all of you. If this information resonates with you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. I can't tell you guys enough how much your clicks, unfortunately, in the algorithm of the matrix, help with assisting to get this information out to the souls that need it during this time, this ascension period, because it's very important collectively for the planet. Okay. All right. I am Dr. Dawn. You guys, I have enjoyed this tonight. Please leave me comments, questions, feedback down below. And until next Monday, you guys have a wonderful rest of your Mystical Monday and a very good, aware, and mindful